welcome back to the 20th Century Dude channel. If you're tuning into today's episode, you are going to be witnessing some movie mistakes I have made in Art Class Part 2. I previously did a whole video on all the short film mistakes I made, like on previous short films that I did. And this is just meant to be, sort of fun. I pick things out that I may or may not have noticed before, or mistakes that are in the movie but can't otherwise be undone. But I will also add, getting Art Class Part 2 up and running it was almost a nightmare from beginning to end, unfortunately. It just seemed filming scenes and editing them together was just more of a Frankenstein's monster, if anything. So if that explains why everything seems haphazardly put together, at least for you viewers anyway, that's why. Because I feel like almost nothing has gone according to plan as I initially wanted it. Again, this is meant to just, poke fun a little. I mean, obviously, I'm going to look back at a project like this for its shortcomings, but I also want it to be fun for the viewers. So, before we dive in, I want to make sure that you have indeed seen Art Class Part 2 before watching this video. And if you haven't watched the short before watching this, what are you doing? Please, go watch the short first, then watch this video, and then you can watch all the other expanded materials. But otherwise, let's dive in.
Once upon a time, there was a small little man who was a creative arts teacher. He taught a course in the basics of drawing, but then allowed his students to develop their skills into something much more extraordinary. He once had a great handful of students, including one talented student from another such story, but that's a tale for another time.
So this use of stock footage here really isn't much of a mistake, but it definitely wasn't as I originally wanted it to be. Originally, this scene was supposed to be Chuck and his girlfriend in the movie. They're walking together through the park, and he's actually telling her the story of Art Class Part 2, and then that's where we do all the flashbacks for. And then it cuts back and forth between them in the park. And initially, it was actually supposed to be the actor Charles, him and his actual girlfriend, because honestly, the chemistry would have fit. But we didn't end up getting that scene filmed. It just didn't end up working out with anybody, so I ended up just doing a brief narration version instead. And as you can tell, even the people featured in the flashback, I feel like I've edited this flashback at least 5 times, and this ended up being the final result. There's supposed to be other numerous characters from other analog picture shorts that I've thrown in there, but ultimately I just decided to condense it into Hunter Corbin and I, and of course Tanya, who acted in Dandelions. And for that being, it's revealed that she was one of Chuck's former art students in the past. Obviously, this was off-screen before Dandelions even happened. In addition to that, the footage with Hunter Corbin, as you may remember, he is the Star Pilot. He voices the Star Pilot in the Star Pilot short I did. So it can be reasoned he's either just some guy, because it's not like we hear his actual voice, or it is the guy who voices the Star Pilot character, so maybe he's a voice actor in universe. And the flashback footage of me specifically, you could view it as sort of a lazy attempt. I just sort of threw a brief 2-second clip of a random YouTube video in there of me. Ironically, I am holding the hard drive that almost did make this project go into non-existence. So there's a little Easter egg there. But I just decided, let's just throw a little cameo of myself in there. So basically that's what I did. So, but anyway, the stock footage really isn't a total mistake. It was just not intentional.
Wait, where are you going?
I said I am leaving now. Just make sure you wake my brother before you leave. Good day, sir.
Wait, no, don't go.
Also, you can see there's the camera tripod. You can see it for a second in this shot, and honestly, I'm surprised I didn't pick it up when I was filming it and didn't pick it up when I was editing it. I literally spotted it right before editing this video. How I didn't notice that is honestly beyond me. So that's really a failure on my part. I don't know how I didn't notice that tripod. Would have been an easy fix otherwise, but I somehow didn't notice it. And here's a little fact, I don't know if any of you notice. We did shoot all the outside stuff first, and then the inside. So right when Charles says,
Wait! No! Don't go!
that's actually at night. And then we cut to outside. So hopefully you didn't notice any of the lighting or anything. I made sure to cut it off a few frames before you even noticed the outside. But hopefully that was just something you didn't notice.
No! Don't leave! Don't go! You're my last student! Don't go!
I don't know if you caught there. Charles sounds like he is maybe unintentionally laughing. I did use the best takes for pretty much this entire project, so that was just the best of the best. But honestly, for both Owen and Charles, it really was hard to get them to not laugh the entire time. So again, doing the best with what I have to work with here.
Don't go!
Get off of me!
So this was a line of obvious ADR from Shui. That was from a completely different take, because as you may notice, he doesn't exactly mouth the dialogue. It's not exactly a new thing in movies. That happens all the time. Sometimes more noticeable than others.
I said, good day, sir. Oh. My goodness, what did I miss?
As you can also see here, apparently there's just no other shirt for Agent Owen's brother, the lazy dude, as we call him. He's obviously playing the same character, but apparently I didn't find him an extra shirt or something before filming, so that's my bad.
I said, good day, sir. Oh. My goodness, what did I miss?
Is there ever a time when you're not sleeping?
Is one ever truly awake?
You can also hear there's inconsistent audio, so maybe I probably could have mixed that a little better.
Back in business.
Right here, the mouth doesn't exactly match with the rest of the body, almost. And when I did this little brief insert of the cartoon character, this was before I went and animated anything new for the short. So that was actually taken directly from the first art class short film. So there's definitely some repeating footage here. And as you can probably tell, this is also not the only time the mouth is synced properly with the dialogue. Again, probably should have realized that when I was animating, but at that point, I just wanted to get the project done.
A young, successful businessman returns to his hometown after 10 years, finds love, enjoys all the little things. He finds the true meaning of Halloween. I'd love to stick around, folks, but after that, the only act tonight. Thank you.
Also, another little movie mistake here. Owen has, oh, actually, both of them have mustaches. This obviously can't be helped because we did all of Owen's first stuff back in September, and it was the beginning of December when we were finishing up the last stuff. So I wasn't going to make him shave off the mustache. But obviously, as you can tell, it's definitely a huge continuity error. I mean, how does one grow a mustache that quickly in just the span of a few hours? So, again, can't be helped. The camera quality as well, apparently, for some reason, I didn't notice that when I was shooting it. For some reason, looks a little bit fuzzier almost compared to everything else. Apparently, the camera was set on gain and not ISO, like it should have been. On ISO, the quality is, of course, a lot clearer, but for some reason, it looked a lot grainier and fuzzier when it was on gain. Why it was on gain, I really don't know, but, things you don't realize until later. But at that point, it was too late. The footage was already shot, and obviously, the actor was not going to be doing it again.
And good night.
In this shot, the TV footage is not exactly comped right. This was, of course, taken from the Devil Drinks decaf, so we can assume this was either a live camera feed, this is a live comedy show, or maybe it was just pre-recorded footage at one point and it's just now getting on the air. There is also a shot later where the TV footage is not exactly comped right either, but that was the best I could do with, of course, when your shot is in motion.
And good night.
It's not even November yet.
There's also a huge, gigantic Christmas error in here. Of course, everything else in the short looks like it's shot in fall. Then we did this last scene where obviously it's colder out, it's December, and of course there's Christmas tree and Christmas decorations out. And honestly, it would have been a hassle to move the tree. Again, nothing I can do about that. That's why I did throw in a dialogue of it's not even November yet in there. Even though technically, yes, this short was released in December, but it is supposed to take place in fall. I am trying to cover myself here. There's nothing I can do about it. Honestly, if it were up to me, there'd be no tree in here. There'd be no Christmas decorations out. Can't do nothing about that.
The other
Well, hello to you too. I wouldn't want to spoil your nap.
As you can see, Shui's arm disappears for a brief half second. The technique I did with the two Shuis is it's a split screen. You have actor on one side of the camera and one on the other, and then you just smack it together. This isn't exactly a new concept. They've been doing this since the 40s and 50s as a camera trick, and most of the time this works pretty well. But in this case, I apparently forgot about Shui's arm. Oops.
Let's give it up for the other.
Well, hello to you too. I wouldn't want to spoil your
so,
nap. Oh, just a restful day as usual.
So,
How was that awful art class of yours today?
Well, I quit today. I'm sure you'll be soon to follow then.
Maybe,
so
but it always gave me the best opportunity for nap time.
The Agent Owen character is noticeably desaturated in his shots, whereas the Lazy Dude has more vibrance and color to it, obviously because he is doing better in his life, whereas Agent Owen is just feeling a bit bleak. But there are a few shots, in the wide shots I couldn't do that because you could tell on one half of the screen it looked a little bit undersaturated, whereas the other side looked oversaturated and just didn't mix right, so there were a few exceptions I made. Yes, there are lights flickering in the back. Maybe there's just a light issue. But I did film that shot when the lights didn't, turn on yet because it was a timer. But let's just assume for the heck of it, there's a flickering issue.
Well, hello to you too. I wouldn't want to spoil your
so,
nap. Oh, just a restful day as usual. How was that awful art class of yours today?
Well, I quit today. I'm sure you'll be soon to follow then.
There's also some odd audio, and this was honestly me trying to fix it, so there's actually less of an audio hiss in the dialogue, but that's just a me problem.
Maybe,
so
but it always gave me the best opportunity for nap time.
Of course.
What's the deal with
I'm sure there's other potential hobbies that I could get bored with.
There's also nowhere to apparently throw a hat at. I had it written in the script that he was supposed to, toss his hat, and it lands on, one of those, hat posts, if you know what I'm talking about. I forget what the actual name of them is for. But we don't have one of those hat rings, so I just sort of said, just toss it in the back there for the sake of the shot.
Of course.
What's the deal with
I'm sure there's other potential hobbies that I could get bored with.
So I had a couple more jokes lined up, but I don't.
Obviously, the cat in here was not supposed to be in the short film. That is my second tabby. Her name is Honey. And boy, is she a nosy, stubborn little thing. She hopped up on that chair twice when we were filming, but at that point it was like, well, fine, might as well put her in there. But the cat wasn't really supposed to be in the movie. That's just her being a needy little son of a gun. But I also didn't credit her later, but, oh well.
Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry. I bet that Chuck dude feels like a loser now. What a joke.
There's also a shadow of the camera mic going across Shui's sweater. Again, can't do nothing about that. I don't have a trick to fix that. And the TV footage also isn't wrong. It does change at least twice. You hear the music from the Nature in Spring short, but then we also go back to the Star Pilot short film at the very end when it's comped onto the TV. I mean, it could probably be assumed that Lazy Dude is changing the channels, probably, but I also wanted a way to just insert these the best way I could.
Figures.
The footage inside the car, it does change pretty often. When the camera is facing forward and it's not on Charles, we are going on one road, and when the camera is facing him, he's on a completely different road. And I think that, if I remember correctly, that footage is actually sped up and in reverse. As you can see here, the car is in the same position twice. It's just the way I had it edited almost. And yeah, the sun also sort of looks inconsistent. That was just what we had from 3 different takes. And of course, you can't fight nature. You can't fight the sky. That's just the way it is.
Oh! Hey, man!
You hit me, now I hit you back.
It was that one time.
Now, it will be many.
I know here that the animation can be inconsistent. You have all the stuff from Footnote Studios, but then you have the actual stuff where the cartoon character is interacting with Charles, and that's with Adobe Photoshop. This specific shot took at least 6.5 hours to do just by itself. They have to do it meticulously frame by frame. Honestly, that doesn't look the greatest by itself, but again, I'm just going by what I have to work with. It's not like I have a fancy Wacom tablet that some animators use, and I could just do it frame by frame the entire way through. Obviously, patience helps too. I'm not the most patient person when it comes to animating, so maybe that also sort of shows in the project. Of course, I also want things to look as decent as possible, but sometimes my patience is just like, okay, what way can we cheat the animation? As you can see here, Charles is comped wrong, but that's not really the only time it looks like this. Of course, this was footage of him actually jumping, and then I just sort of like slowed it down, cut it down to about 1/3 of the jump, and then I just sort of had it rotated as he was being tossed. But for whatever reason, Premiere is more gimmicky with the green screen than it used to be. I don't know why. It's kind of annoying. But it's not the only time. Charles just doesn't look right throughout the entire thing. I'll get to that in a bit.
You've been arrested.
As you can see here, there's plenty of shadows galore, because obviously the sun was going down, even though I really wanted this to take place about mid-afternoon, but of course that didn't happen. But yeah, you can see me plenty of times. I did Photoshop some of the shadow out when Charles got tossed. But that actually had to be redone when the hard drive issue happened. So at that point, I just tried to make the shadows as unnoticeable as possible. Some better than others, but oh well.
Nope, not this time.
There is another Charles glitch and there's two shots where he gets tossed into the cartoon world. Of course, this is the start when the green screen for the cartoon world just goes, I think, terribly wrong. It's just not going to be as perfect as what I want it to be. There are probably at least, in certain shots, 10 or 11 video layers just to try to get Charles comped in there right, but I feel like it was also horrible green screen. My part, I probably should have de-wrinkled out the blanket as much as possible when we were doing the green screen blanket, but yep, horrible mistake on my part. And you can tell Charles is not really outside because of the audio. He really sounds like he's in a room. Again, please don't think about it. At the start of the montage here, I don't know why Premiere rendered it that way, but for whatever reason it wouldn't let me fix it. In certain frames, the marker Charles has used to draw disappears. Don't know why it does that. As you can see here at the cartoon character drawing, I apparently forgot a few shots of animation. Didn't look right. Oh well.
Checkmate.
Yeah, and this little brief thing of ADR, that's not the actual actors that I actually had to fill in, because for whatever reason, I thought I had the whole chess thing written in the montage in the script, but apparently I didn't, and we didn't get any of the audio for it, so I did not apparently do a good job at disguising it and making it sound like the cartoon character in Chuck. There is reused footage here. I do use the footage of Charles being shocked twice. Just going with what I had to work with. But I will say this, as much as other stuff doesn't work out, at least the stuff with the bear, I feel like that worked out probably pretty nicely. It does look like a different bear in one shot. But as far as when Charles is running up the hill and the bear is just sitting behind, I feel like that worked out pretty well. On the scene here where Charles is drumming, he's not actually using any sticks. Those are two green screen sticks that I had in there, and I had to animate and key in frame by frame when it's in motion.
Yeah, it was great. I felt like I was a student learning something new.
Yep, and as you can see here, there's a floating Charles, because apparently I didn't have him moved enough on set.
There. The woman you can keep.
Thanks.
Hey, handsome. Wanna go to Acme and cause some mayhem?
Do I? Just give me a minute, baby.
The voice of the cartoon woman, it's probably for some very obviously an AI voice. For one line of dialogue, I wasn't going to bother to hunt down anybody for one line of dialogue, so I just kind of figured, since I had to do an internship where I had to use an AI voice for promos, I just figured I'll just go back to the same stuff. Why not just use an AI voice for one line of dialogue? I mean, I'm not a big AI person by any means. But I figured it's one line, why not?
Hey, handsome. Wanna go to Acme and cause some mayhem?
Do I? Just give me a minute, baby. I guess I owe you one.
Thanks for being a great student.
As you can see here, the cartoon man is talking when he's not supposed to.
I guess I owe you one.
Thanks for being a great student.
Anytime. You might need this.
The okay thanks dialogue was not Charles, that was actually Shuey. I took that from an outtake where he accidentally says the wrong line of dialogue. But for some reason, I didn't have any audio of Charles saying thanks, so I just decided to throw that in there. And as you can see here, Charles is for whatever reason glitching again when he gets out of the cartoon world. Maybe we can make it a Spider-Verse excuse, they glitch when they're not in their universe or something, I don't know. The audio here, it also sounds looped, probably because you have what you're supposed to record dead air when you're filming something of the environment, that way you can shove it in and then match it. But for whatever reason, I did not hear this initially when I was mixing the audio in, and it sounds like the same thing over and over again. And this shot here was probably due to an exporting error, because for whatever reason it took a whole day and a half just to export this project from Premiere, which is actually why I had to plug everything into Final Cut Pro and do it that way. That was a hassle. So I have a feeling this was a exporting error from there, but I'm not going to go bother and fix it, because I'm sick of looking at this project, to be honest.
Where's my car? Sorry I stole your vehicle. It's a nasty habit I have, and I'm late for my doctor's appointment. Sincerely, a kleptomaniac?
The scene with the note was also not supposed to happen. It was supposed to cut back to about a 20 to 30 second cameo with the kleptomaniac, with Corin Maines reprising his role, but that scene, again, also didn't end up getting filmed, so I had to include this note. I mean, realistically, that note would have, flown away because of wind. I don't feel like someone would have left a note like that just randomly on the ground, but here we are.
Sincerely, a kleptomaniac?
Aside from having his car stolen by a thief, you could say that the art teacher had a pretty good ending for this story. Though his future remains to be written, it's suffice to say that he will live happily ever after, for now.
Again, I want to re-emphasize that the daylight in here, it can be inconsistent. It definitely looks about evening time. It was supposed to take place about mid-afternoon. Again, I can't control the sun.
'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears
I guess you can consider it an error, or maybe I just forgot in the credits. Again, technically the cat should be credited. Instead, since the cat actually made an appearance in the film, not Corin. This was based off old credits I did, I think, back in October when I made the list of who all was in the film, both physically and, of course, in archive footage. And apparently I did not fix everything. I did not take Corin out. So I guess you can say maybe he was there in spirit.
Now you'll regret killing my daughter.
The post-credits scene where it takes place after the interrogation, it sort of leads into it, right? But on the other hand, there is a brief audio difference.
Now you'll regret killing my daughter. Are you aware of this?
if you pay close attention, Dad's not exactly on the ground. I thought I could hide it better with shadow. Apparently, somebody did point it out. He's not exactly there. His body should be present. As you can also see, the blood also didn't comp in as well as I wanted to, but oh well.
Are you aware of this?
How?
That's what I want you to figure out. That's your next mission. I want you to track down this cartoon character and bring it in for questioning. This is going to open up a can of worms that no one is ready for yet.
Understood. Got it.
Now I guess I have a body to clean up.
This entire scene too with Michael Preston in the basement, it did have to be reshot because the original stuff was lost due to the hard drive error. So this again was redone stuff. So unfortunately, it's not as good as it was the first time. But at least with both times we shot this, it at least consistently matches with how the room was in the interrogation. Which is also kind of nice. Although, if there's anything I'd like to fix, is the stupid, I don't know if this is the automatic focus the iPhone does when it's shooting. You can notice that at least once or twice. That's kind of annoying. Last but not least, as far as errors are concerned, there's a bit of bad Photoshop on my part. It's not like these two actors, the actor that played Avery from Dandelions and, of course, Owen, it's not like they physically interacted with each other before. That, of course, never happened. So I tried to, comp their faces together the best I could. Somebody pointed out it looks sort of AI-ish, which is not my intention, but, again, errors galore, I guess. And otherwise, that seems to be all the Art Class 2 mistakes that I myself have pointed out and I myself have picked out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know when we're going to be doing Art Class 3. Obviously, that's going to finish out the trilogy. I actually think maybe I might use that as a way to just finish out my analog picture shorts as a whole, and then I can just start doing things with, other companies or something. It's not just, me and my friends. It's not like, I have school projects or anything else going on anymore. So it's a good pet that Art Class 3, maybe you'll get at the end of 2026. It's next year already. So but I do want to do other short films first. I do want to do something with stop motion. I'd like to do another Kleptomaniac if I ever see Corn again in the next couple of months. And maybe one other thing. But I would like to do some other stuff before I just jump right back into Art Class 3 all over again. Because I do want it to, wrap everything up. There are loose threads that have been set up, as you can obviously tell. Obviously, with the whole interrogator stuff, but also with Shuey, so he's going to be playing a big part. I guess you could say technically the Cartoon Man's arc is somewhat finished up, but I feel like we could bring him back in some capacity. So, Art Class 3 is a whole bunch of jumbled ideas right now, so I'll get to that in a later point. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in to 20th Century Dude today, and hope to catch you soon. See ya.